There I was in Calgary's brand new Bella Concert Hall. The hall was vibrating, and tears filled my eyes at the emotion of the music I was hearing. Deaf percussionist Evelyn Glennie made the very seats of the Bella Concert Hall shake with the intensity of the piece. The second that I got home from that powerful concert, I sat down with my cello and I felt like the music was coaching me through the difficulty of the season that I was experiencing. Music is actually one of the greatest coaches that we can experience. It can guide you through your emotions and show you the beauty in life and give you inspiration through the hard things that you're facing. It can, in fact, develop you into the person that you were meant to be. Now, I know what you might be thinking, Ina, how is that possible? I have honestly always just thought of music as a source of entertainment, like listening to the newest Taylor Swift album on my way to the office. And maybe the thought listening music is a waste of time. Maybe that thought has crossed your mind. And maybe you're wondering right now, okay, you tell me that it can further meet the goals I have. How is that possible? That is what we're going to be covering today. And I want you to know that when you incorporate a music practice in your life, it can actually be the very thing that can turn everything around and make the hard work you're doing worth it. So let's dive into how this is possible. So I see you. You are getting to around 1 p.m., 2 p.m. in the afternoon, and you are utterly exhausted. You feel the stress of the day, and it just seems to keep piling up all the way till the kids are in bed, and you can finally fall on your bed exhausted and just go to sleep. You wake up and you repeat the cycle. Now, it doesn't have to be this way. You can have energy. You can actually have a way to create energy, create it from almost nothing. There's a book that I read a long time ago, but it's stuck with me and I keep rereading it because it's so powerful. It is called The Power of Full Engagement. It's by the author Jim Loehr. He's a tennis coach, and he says it is all about managing energy, not time. And managing energy is the key to high performance and personal renewal. So if you have a way that you can actually create energy, you're managing your energy levels, then you can become what Brendon Burchard calls a high performer. Now, I would describe a high performer as someone who cares about excellence, wants to succeed at a high level, knows that small details in their lives can create big results, that everything is connected. They understand atomic habits. That's from the book by, what's the guy's name? James Clear, I believe? Yes, James Clear. High performers, they work hard, they go above and beyond, but sometimes they can maybe feel like something's missing, like the energy component isn't quite there. Now, if you want to dive even deeper into the topic of high performance, I would highly recommend the book, High Performance Habits. As I said, it was written by Brendon Burchard. He is a high performance coach, and that book, along with the book by Jim Loehr, was life-changing for me in this area. So there's your 2 book recommendations so far. Now, the interesting thing about high performance is it actually doesn't have to be just for Olympic tennis players, professional musicians, or people in the Alberta or the New York ballet or opera singers. It can be for you as well. You can be a high performer, and all you need are a set of protocols that allow you to go from where you are at right now and up the spiral to where you want to be. These protocols, I'm not going to lie to you, they can take time and effort, but what you can do right now is you can start speaking it into existence. Your words are powerful. Now, if you listen to last week's episode, you'll understand this very well. I want you to say in the mirror to yourself every single day, I am a high performer. I care about excellence in my life. I live with excellence. And I work hard. those are just a couple of affirmations that I started saying to myself. And the crazy thing is when you start saying affirmations like that to yourself, you'll start noticing where you are falling short. So one very crazy, almost hilarious example that happened to me when I first started saying these affirmations to myself in the mirror every day, I would say to myself, I perform with excellence, or I live my life with excellence. And I would use a Kleenex or a paper towel, and I know that you do this too. You throw it across the room into the garbage can and you miss. I missed too, most of the time in fact, because I'm not great with throwing stuff. Anyways, I used to just leave it there on the ground next to the garbage and maybe pick it up when I walk by. But right now, because I've started implementing the thought, I live with excellence, that does not align with that statement, leaving a Kleenex on the ground. Like, as trivial as it might seem. But I had to go pick up that Kleenex and put it into the garbage can because it started to affect me. It wasn't part of my identity. I'm not the kind of person anymore that leaves a Kleenex right next to the garbage. I have to put it in. And there's countless examples of how that started playing into my life. I had to live with excellence because I couldn't handle it not being a part of my identity. It wasn't lining up with my identity. So to be authentic, I had to follow through. Now, the same thing happened with protocols that I have in my life. I started walking daily because that's part of my standard of excellence. I started getting ready and dressed every day, ready for the day, ready to seize the day, carpe diem. And I started making my bed every day because those are things that high performers do and people who live with excellence do. This can be there for you too. Now, I've talked a lot about the word just protocol, and maybe it's familiar to you, but let's just make sure that we are on the same page with what it means, and then we'll talk about how protocols can actually change the structure of your brain. Okay? Let's dive in here. So the word protocol itself means, according to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, it's a system of rules that explain the correct conduct and procedures to be followed in formal situations. Now, formal situations, we can really redefine that in our lives as any situation where you want to have structure, accountability, predictability, and control. Now, what this means for you is having standards in your life that you can count on, that if you do them consistently will bring you up to the next level. And protocols that you may be implementing in your life right now are drinking more water, walking, maybe you're trying to exercise every day, maybe you're reading 10 pages every day, maybe you're doing the 75 hard challenge. I know that that's a very popular thing beginning of every year. I recently did it, and if you've done it all as well, you know how it feels to get to the end of the 75 days and you just kind of do it. You do the 5 things without really thinking about it. You drink, here, let me grab my giant gallon of water. You drink the gallon of water. And this is the one for tomorrow. You start doing the workouts. You just do all the things and you hardly think about it because it's now part of your brain structure. A protocol is something that when you implement it enough times, it's a habit. That's a set of habits that define your standard of excellence. So that's how I'd like you to think about the word protocol. But let's say you've done 75 hard challenge. You're reading every day, you are drinking water, you're working out, and you feel pretty good. But there's something missing. You're still feeling exhausted, maybe by 4 p.m. instead of 2 p.m. You are still mentally tired when you sit down to do creation type work, like writing a sales message or brainstorming the next project for your business. You're still kind of exhausted at the end of the day. All these things are helping, but it's not helping as much as you thought it would. There's something missing. Now, what if there was a way to program your brain to operate at $1 billion level? A level at which all of the protocols you're doing are working for you. They're working harder than you even could on your own. They are expanding exponentially. That is what we are talking about today. Let me explain. When you reprogram your brain, you are going to the root of the issue of why you're feeling so tired, why you are not getting the results that you're wanting from the protocols you have already implemented. And the reason for that is your brain is the computer of your body. If you rewrite the code for your brain, then all of a sudden, your daily reading, your coaching, your teaching, your entrepreneuring, if that's a word, it starts developing certain parts of your brain faster when you have something that can reprogram it in the first place. So imagine it like this. Let's say you are the CEO of a Fortune 500 company. You would absolutely never in your wildest dreams operate that company off of a 1992 Macintosh 512K. You would never do that because you have a lot of information to process every day. You need the best MacBook Pro. That's exactly what you need in order to take your work to a coffee shop that still works really fast. You would never use a computer from the 90s. You would use the best, right? Because you want to be the best. Why would you do that to your brain? Why wouldn't you upgrade the software and the hardware of your brain too? So Zig Ziglar, he is one of my favorite motivational speakers. You probably have heard me quote him in previous podcast episodes if you've listened to this channel long enough. If you have $1 million racehorse, would you let him stay up half the night drinking coffee and booze, smoking cigarettes, and eating junk food? Next question, would you treat a $10 dog that way? Or a $5 cat? What about a $1 billion body? That's you. You're the $1 billion body. If you are not developing your entire brain on a daily basis, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage to fulfilling your potential. You need to have a way to activate all the centers of your brain, the left side, the right side, the center, the corpus callosum that runs through the center, the amygdala, the hippocampus, all of the areas of the brain need to be developed on a daily basis so that you can perform at your best, so you can be a high performer. We've come to the root of the issue now. Developing your brain and making your brain better helps you become the best you can be. And how do you do that? By playing the cello. We are coming back full circle to how playing an instrument and music is so much more than entertainment. There are two purposes of music. But first, let's look at the definition of music itself, and then we can understand this better. So the definition, just according to the dictionary, is vocal or instrumental sounds combined in a way to produce beauty of form, harmony, and expression of emotion. What stands out to me the most in this definition is the word expression. That is what I believe business really revolves around. When you're building a brand, you are expressing the why of your company. Now, you need to be able to harness the why that people are thinking about already and express it in a way where they think you are reading their minds. You need to frame it in a way that solves their problems. Now, as Simon Sinek says, and he explains this in his book, Start With Why, you need to work with the part of the brain called the limbic brain. This part of the brain has zero capacity for language. It's the part of the brain that's when it's activated, you have a hard time even coming up with words. So if I were to ask you the question, why do you love your baby? I don't know. I can't put words to that. When I think about my baby, he's 1 year old now. I can't hardly put words to it. I just think, oh, I just love him. I just love him so much. So when you are activating the limbic brain in business, you are triggering that in your potential customers. And when you trigger that limbic brain response in them, then they start thinking emotionally about their problems. They start thinking about the deep-rooted things that they truly need that's going to make their lives better. And that is how you can serve them. You can create a solution for them. Now, if the limbic brain has no capacity for language, yet you need to write copy and you need to write about the limbic brain and activate it in people, how do you develop that part in your own brain so that you can actually take the emotions you want people to feel and put it into words? I have great news for you. Music is the language of emotion. What that means for you is being able to activate and develop your own limbic brain so that when you're sitting down at your computer with your keyboard, your fingers are just flying off of the keys. You can barely keep up because you are communicating through the limbic brain. And you've developed that part of your brain and you've trained it in order to feel emotions and put it into words. This will allow you to connect the emotion that your clients, your potential clients are feeling in your writing, in your videos you're creating, and in your coaching with those clients, and lead them to new heights. It's like this beautiful cycle where when you develop your own brain, it comes through in your writing, it comes through in your coaching, and their brains are developed and they are able to thrive. And I know that's what you want for your clients. You went into business because you care so much about your customer. You care about the thing that you are amazing at, your skill set, and giving it to the people, right? This is how music essentially coaches you through what's going on in your lives. An article that I recently read by Pfizer explains it like this. It said, the limbic system, which is involved in processing emotions and controlling memory, lights up when our ears perceive music. The chills you feel going down your spine when you hear a particularly moving piece of music may be the result of dopamine, a neurotransmitter that triggers sensations of pleasure and well-being. So that brings us to our first purpose of music. Outside of entertainment, the first purpose of music is to express emotion. And when you get a handle on this, you'll develop the limbic part of your brain, and your messages and your copy will connect to people in a way where they feel like you're reading their minds. The second purpose of music, we need to actually look at the etymology, the root of the word music. This will allow us to figure out the second purpose so that you can incorporate it into your life without worrying that you're wasting your time with just entertainment. The modern English word for music is actually derived from a combination of the ancient Greek word for music and the Greek expression, art of the muses. To the Greeks, music was the art of all arts, the art of the muses. The muses were, mythological creatures. They were in mythology the centers of where creativity came from. When you had a muse, you were able to create. And we often associate having a muse as having a source of unending inspiration. Have you ever felt uninspired to create, but you did it anyways because you had to? It's not a really fun feeling, sitting there with an open Google Doc and you have no idea what to write. Now, the word inspire, when you have this unending source of inspiration through music, the word inspire itself means the spirit within. That is how music connects to our creativity. As creative beings made by a creator, and I know that even if you're not a Christian, you know that you're truly creative. You know that you were created somehow. And I, as a Christian, this is what I believe. I'm made by Creator, and a spirit was put into me. You then naturally lean towards creating because you were made by a Creator. And being made by a Creator and with the spirit within us, we want to create, and it gives us so much joy. Music is then a spiritual act of creation that fuels inspiration so that you are light on your feet and you can create the most beautiful life that you can imagine. It's the fuel that gives you the ability to take your protocols and make them expand exponentially. It's the way to strengthen the creative center of your brain, that creative muscle, so that when you sit down to brainstorm your next project, your fingers are just flying. You know exactly what to do next. Now, while my hope for you today is that while you can see music can certainly be a source of entertainment, it is so much more. When you play an instrument yourself, it's not only fun, but it is the protocol that rules them all, to quote The Lord of the Rings. I'm showing a bit of my nerdy side here. I just love The Lord of the Rings. It's the protocol that when you implement it into your life, you become better. And how do you implement this new protocol of learning music? You learn exactly how in Inner Voice Academy. Inner Voice Academy is a cello membership that gives you a unique brain training plan customized to your life. It will start up a new brain software that allows the hard work you're already doing to compound exponentially, to grow. In Inner Voice Academy, as you learn the cello, step by step, level by level, you'll start noticing your brain changing. You'll feel more focused, sharper, and more creative. Now, the best part about this is you'll have peace of mind that you're going to the root of becoming the person you were made to be. The root of working in a sustainable way that will allow you to age gracefully, having mental clarity every year of your life, and feel a satisfying sense of accomplishment every single day. And that's what you really want, isn't it? If the answer to in your mind right now is a resounding yes, then head to the description or to the show notes and join the waitlist for Inner Voice Academy. We are opening very soon, only open up a handful of times per year, and you can have this too. You can have that unending source of inspiration and creativity that develops your brain, helps you thrive and create in your potential.